Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we are going to learn our chapter 3, which is a top-level view of computer function and interconnection. My name is Dr. Nur Azura Zakaria and I'm from Department of Computer Science KICT. First of all, we would like to see what is the learning objective that we are going to have for this chapter. So the first one is to understand the basic elements of an instruction cycle and the role of interrupts. The second one is to describe the concept of interconnection within a computer system. The third one is to present an overview of QPI, or QPI stands for Quick Path Interconnect. And the last one is to present an overview of PCIe. The PCIe stands for Peripheral Component Interconnect Express. So these are the contents or topics for this chapter. We are going to learn about the computer components, computer function, interconnection structures, bus interconnection, point-to-point interconnect, and the last one is the PCIe or PCI Express. The first topic for this chapter is computer components. Right, at the right-hand side here, you can see the von Neumann architecture, which consists of the three main pillars, which is the main memory, CPU, and the input-output equipment. So basically, we learned about the von Neumann architecture in the previous chapter, and this architecture was basically used for the first generation of a computer. And the contemporary computer designs nowadays are also based on concepts developed by John von Neumann at the Institute for Advanced Studies, Princeton. The von Neumann architecture basically based on three key concepts. The first one is data and instructions are stored in a single read-write memory. The second concept, the contents of this memory are addressable by location without regard to the type of data contained there. And the last one, execution occurs in a sequential fashion unless explicitly modified from one instruction to the next. Programming can be done in hardware and software-wise. Programming in hardware, also called as hardwired programming. So basically, in the hardwired programming, a small set of basic logic components that can be combined in a various ways to store binary data and perform arithmetic and logical operations on that data. For example, if you want to do the addition process, we must have the basic logic components to do that process. If there is a particular computation to be performed, a configuration of logic components designed specifically for that computation could be constructed. For example, the first one we want to do the addition, so we must have the basic logic components to perform the addition process. If we want to do the second process, which is the subtraction, so we must use the basic logic components which can do the subtraction process. So we need to do a configuration one by one. So the hardwired programming basically is a process of connecting the various components in the desired configuration as a form of programming. The resulting program is in the form of hardware and is termed a hardwired program. And basically, we need to do rewiring to perform different configuration. As I said before this, if we want to do the addition, we must configure the components using the basic logic components for addition purposes. And if we want to change the arithmetic configuration from addition to subtraction, we must have different basic logic components. And this one basically is the diagram for the hardwired programming. Basically, in the sequence of arithmetic and logic functions, this one will have a small set of basic logic components. And when we infuse data, this function can receive the data and it can produce the results as what we configured. Programming in software is different compared to the hardwired programming. Programming is now much easier. Instead of rewiring the hardware for each new program, all we need to do is provide a new sequence of codes. Each code is in effect an instruction, and part of the hardware interprets each instruction and generates control signals. To distinguish this new method of programming, a sequence of codes or instructions is called software. So basically, this is the figure of programming in software. Basically, the programmer or developer will give a sequence of codes or instruction codes, and these instruction codes will be interpreted by the instruction interpreter. The instruction interpreter will give the correct control signals to the general purpose arithmetic and logic functions. So basically, these functions will receive data from the user, and it will do the necessary functions or process, and it will give or produce the intended results. Remember that in the von Neumann architecture, we have three main pillars, which is the main memory, the CPU, and the input-output module. So if you want to relate the programming in software with the computer components, basically the two major components, an instruction interpreter and a module of general purpose arithmetic and logic functions, these two components can be constituted to the CPU. Data and instruction must be put into the system. For this, we need some sort of input module. This module contains basic components for accepting data and instructions in some form and converting them into an internal form of signals usable by the system. So besides the input module, we must also have a means of reporting results. And this is in the form of an output module. Taken together, these are referred to as input-output components. Another module is required to temporarily store both instructions and data, and this one called as memory or main memory. Now we are going to look into the top-level view computer components. Here we have the CPU, we have the input-output module, and we have the main memory. And these components basically are connected to one and another using the system bus. We learned before that the CPU will interpret instruction codes, and it also has the arithmetic and logic functions, right? So basically, the CPU also exchanges data with memory. Basically, in the CPU, it has two internal registers, which is the memory address register or MAR and also memory buffer register or MBR. So what does it mean by MAR and what does it mean by MBR? So MAR, it specifies the address in memory for the next read or write. MBR, it contains data to be written into memory or receives the data read from memory. Besides MAR and MBR, in the CPU also it has another register which called as IOAR and IOBR. So what is IOAR? IOAR is the input-output address register. IOBR is input-output buffer register. So basically, in the input-output address register, it basically specifies a particular input-output device, while input-output buffer register used for the exchange of the data between an input-output module and the CPU. Besides that, inside the CPU also it has the PC, or known as the program counter. Basically, the program counter contains the address of the next instruction to be fetched from memory. And this one we have learned inside the chapter 1. And inside the CPU also it has the IR or instruction register. So IR, the function of IR, it contains the opcode instruction being executed. For the main memory, the memory module consists of a set of locations defined by sequential numbered addresses. Each location contains a binary number that can be interpreted as either an instruction or data. So basically, the instruction or data will be located inside the main memory in the binary number. The input-output module transfers data from external devices to the CPU and memory and vice versa. It contains internal buffers for temporarily holding these data until they can be sent on.